Hey, Jamsters. I'm scared. I'm hiding under my covers, sheepishly peeking out like Haley Joel Osment in The Sixth Sense, because yes, I think I see dead people. Only they're wearing Suns jerseys and standing in the corner like forgotten spirits from better basketball days. What I saw on Sunday in Madison Square Garden wasn't just a bad game. It was a bleak reminder of what this Phoenix Suns team has become when Devin Booker has to play soloist in a band of backup dancers. No rhythm, no harmony, just one man with a mic and no amp. And yet, somehow, there are still people, chronically online commentators with Wi-Fi and bad vibes, who just want to pin the Suns' failures on Kevin Durant. They say that his arrival derailed the franchise's long-term vision, shifted the timeline, shook the chemistry. Maybe they're not entirely wrong, but if you want to see what this team looks like without him, buckle up. It's a horror show. When Kevin Durant plays, the Suns are 33-29. Not spectacular, but competitive. A 44-win pace. You can work with that. You can build from that. When he doesn't, the Phoenix Suns are 2-14. That's a 10-72 pace for an entire season. 10-72. That's not basketball. That's malpractice. This team without Durant is offensively bankrupt. No ball movement, no flow, no second options. Booker tries to carry the whole damn team like Atlas with a busted back trying to carry the world. And though the youthful energy around him means nothing when it doesn't translate to points on the scoreboard. And then there's the context, the cruel, inevitable context. Sacramento just beat Cleveland. The Suns, with 4 games left, now have to make up 3 games just to stumble into the play-in like a drunk trying to find his Uber. So yeah, I'm scared because I see dead people. And it's not just a season circling the drain. It's the whole damn dream.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
That's right, Jamsters. Another game, another loss for the Phoenix Suns. That is 6 consecutive games lost as they entered this final stretch of the season when we knew that winning was going to be paramount and the competition was going to be tough. The Suns have faltered in every capacity possible, losing this one by once again not scoring 100 points, 112-98 in NYC in Madison Square Garden. Devin Booker, great, 40 points. But it's just like the olden days, right? Like Javier says in the chat, when have we been officially eliminated from play-in contentions? Oops, it was this one. I knew we were losing every time Booker has a high-scoring game. Suns always lose. That's been the case back in the day, but not over the last 5 years. But now with Kevin Durant out, we're reminded that, yeah, Booker's going to go off and there's no one around him to support him. No one. The next highest scoring guy was Bradley Beal with 16 points on 19 shots. Then there was 15 from Grayson Allen on 13 shots off of the bench. And that's it as far as double-digit scores for this team. It's like 2015, 16, 17, 18. All those early Booker years where he did everything he could to try to carry this team. But you need more people around him in an effort to do so. And Bradley Beal has proven that he isn't it. And Kevin Durant has proven that he is it. But for some reason, people are just, they look beyond the context of what's actually happening. They read more into the tea leaves. They say that Durant isolates too much, even though technically, statistically, he doesn't. All he does is consistently score. And in games like tonight, when you're fighting to get back in it, and like that's when Kevin Durant has value, especially because he's just a walking bucket getter. And I'll crunch the numbers once this podcast is over, and I'll take a look and see exactly what the Suns score relative to average total points in games in which he plays and games in which he doesn't. But again, they're 33-29 when Kevin Durant plays, and they're 2-14 when he doesn't. And so, when you ask the question, when was this game over? When was it over? I mean, in all honesty, it was over when Kevin Durant wasn't playing, when Devin Booker was going to have Bradley Beal starting next to him in the lineup. And the Knicks, as we saw tonight, don't look like world beaters. This isn't an intense opposing team. Jalen Brunson making his first appearance back in quite some time after spraining an ankle looked like he was getting back into playing. And you'd feel it like if KD's there, you feel like at least you have a chance to win this one. But I didn't feel we had a chance to win this one. I mean, what were we, like 10-point dogs coming into this one? And I'm right there. And Haydot, like, this is not true. He says he scores, but that's it. Like, who's a better defender on the team than Kevin Durant? Ryan Dunn? That unto itself, if you think about it, is just a horrible depiction of who the Suns are. Scoring and no defense is not winning. But I would argue that Kevin Durant is one of our plus defenders, if not our best defender on this team. His length, his rim deterrence, it's frustrating because there, with great, you pay Kevin Durant so much money to execute, and he executes. But he just doesn't execute the right way. It's like, no, do you know who doesn't execute the right way? Well, let me find the drop, man. Let's go right in on this again, huh?
And she said, you're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley. Bo, bo.
Yeah, if you want to talk about price for value paid, Bradley Beal is the guy we should be consistently frustrated with. 16 points, 8 of 19 shooting. First half unto itself, 0 of 5 from the field, 0 points, -11. Second half, and it was primarily the fourth quarter where Beal finally started scoring. He was 6 of 12 for 12 points. So of his 16 points, 12 of them came in the fourth quarter. A -12. Led the team again in plus minus in a negative fashion. -12 from Bradley Beal. I mean, that guy's getting paid $50 million a year. Kevin Durant's getting paid $50 million a year, but you know what he does? He scores, he assists. Does he turn over the ball a little too much for my liking? Absolutely. But he does play defense. He does rebound the ball. He does block shots. He does give you a viable threat with 5 minutes left to where an entire defense can't just go, you know what? That guy. Let's stop Devin Booker with 5 minutes left, and that's all they have to do. So you take a look at this game, and it's not anything that no one, I shouldn't speak for everybody, but the majority aren't surprised with the result. We knew this was coming, and to compound things, what little hope you had left, knowing that after this game, the Suns would now be 8 games under 500, which, again, the last time they were 8 games under 500 was August 9th, 2020. The Orlando bubble. I mean, think about that. Now, that team obviously was on a completely different trajectory than this team. That team went to the bubble, 12 games under 500, and won 8 consecutive games with Ricky Rubio and Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Devin Booker. And they were on the upswing. And because of that run in the bubble, next thing you know, Chris Paul wanted to be a part of this team. And then we made a run to the finals the next year. And then we won 64 games the next year. And then we dipped our toe into the super team, 3-man super team lineup, and everything went to hell after that. And now here we are again, 8 games under 500, just like we were back in 2020, but with a completely different outlook, a completely different attitude, a completely different trajectory. We're on the downswing. And with 4 games left in this season, mercifully, we'll be able to call this one just what it is and just carry the hell on. Because again, Sacramento, they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they're now 3 games ahead of us in the standings with 4 games to play. Now, granted, the last game of the season, we do play them. And that does become a valuable game because if we can somehow muster victories in our 3 games until then, right? That's Golden State on Tuesday, Wednesday, it's the Oklahoma City Thunder, just like the best team in basketball. And then Friday, we play the San Antonio Spurs. If we could get all those games and San Antonio and Sacramento loses the appropriate amount of games, that game next Sunday could mean an opportunity to play in the play-in. But do you even want that, Suns fans? Like, are you like me? You're just ready to fucking pack this one in? Put some wrapping paper on it, send it to your aunt. Be like, here you go. Here's a box of shit. Happy Flag Day. All right, let's see what some of the comments say. Mark N. KD gets you over the top if you're close to the top. He can't carry a bunch of scrubs anymore. Also, overhauling the roster each season he has been here to not build any cohesion or chemistry. I agree with a ton of that. And again, that's why I feel bad because I say it over and over again. I know you guys are probably sick of hearing it, but I think that, you just go back, and I know that we're all living in the revisionist history era of being a Suns fan right now. Like the what if. You go back and you just have the disease of what if. Well, what if we didn't get rid of CP3 for Beal and we held on to Ayton? What if Frank Vogel, who was brought in to coach a CP3, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton foursome, had an opportunity to coach those guys for one season? What could have happened last year? But instead, we took Shamet, who hit a dagger 3 against us tonight. How funny was that? And Chris Paul, and we decided to go get Bradley Beal. I feel like that was a linchpin because I feel like we were close. And I feel like we had an opportunity that offseason to build appropriately around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and we had key pieces. It's like, okay, here's what you need around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. You need an athletic, rim-running big and a point guard. Let's get rid of both of them. And, yeah, that's what Haydot's like. Thank you, Mark. That's exactly what I'm saying. And so, you give the props to Devin Booker tonight.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is
Big Dick Booker.
So 40 points for Devin Booker tonight, the highest amount of points ever scored by a member of the Phoenix Suns in Madison Square Garden. I did not know that. I thought it would have been more. I feel like Devin Booker's had some amazing games in Madison Square Garden, and he has. I think he was number 2 or 3 on the list with 38 total points, but he broke 40. It was 16 of 29 from the field, 2 of 7 from beyond the arc, because that's kind of just like where Devin Booker lives, right? Like 2 of 7 from beyond the arc is pretty much a standard stat line for him. 6 of 7 from the free throw line. He had 4 rebounds. He had 3 assists. He had 1 steal, 4 turnovers, and 0 block shots. A -9 on the plus minus for D-Book. Had a great game. Again, same thing as the previous game when we played in Boston and lost, and he scored a ton. Just looking good. But Devin Booker is looking good right now. The way that he's playing basketball is quality. It's his shot making is again elite. It's just unfortunate that he doesn't have a supporting cast around him who can support the scoring and add points to the scoreboard when he's not out there. And that's kind of the challenge with the team. So yeah, he's a -9. The team lost by 14 points. So they were -5 points when he wasn't on the floor as well. The only thing that pissed me off about Booker tonight, this is just a John Voida thing. Do you see his book ones? You see his shoes? They were a throwback, because that's what he does. He's done an amazing job with these book ones, these player editions, to kind of pay homage to different things along the way. But he was wearing these like Air Force One replica NYC Nikes. And on his shoes, it said like NYC with the swoosh. The same one, if you watch the game, you see that the Knicks were wearing on their jersey, right where the Nike swoosh goes. It says NYC behind it. I didn't like that. It's like, why are you wearing shoes of the opposing team you're playing? Like an homage to them. I get that you're in Madison Square Garden. I get that there's a reverence that comes there. I get that there's respect and honor to be paid to the Mecca of basketball. But at the same time, like, don't go out there wearing NYC on your shoes, because all that does is give Stephen A. Smith something to talk about tomorrow morning when he hops on First Take, whatever fucking random ass horrible show he's on. Oh, he's coming to New York. Look, he already has the shoes. It's like, yeah, when we played, who was it when he was wearing the? Well, when we played Portland, he wore like some Oregon Duck type shoes, because it's up in Nike country, and it's just like I don't like that. I don't like that. You guys are funny. Hey.0. Voided, did Lissy check out on you? No, Lissy has a life. He's doing things. And Keith Nettles, Lissy's at confession. Yeah, he's confessing his sins. He's watched too many Suns games this season. Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I've watched almost every Phoenix Suns game. Please give me my penance. You get six Our Fathers and 3 Hail Marys. But again, a great game for Booker. And if I pull up his recent scoring and how he's been playing as of late, he's been crushing it. If the team's winning games, he's winning like Player of the Week. You know what I mean? But they're just not winning games because he is all alone. No one's here with them. So he had 10 points in the loss against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I believe that was the game that Kevin Durant got hurt. No, Houston, he got hurt because it was Jabari Smith. But since then, so that's 4 games. So he scored 28, scored 39. He scored 40 tonight and then 37. So plus 40 plus 37 divided by 4. He's averaging 36 points a game in his last 4. Not too shabby. Now, granted, the 28 points was his lowest scoring performance, and that's one where Kevin Durant was out there. And that's that could be an issue you could talk about with Kevin Durant, right? Because of the reverence that Kevin Durant pulls and the respect, is we don't get enough of like this kind of Booker, right? Booker becomes deferent and passive when Kevin Durant's out there. Where it's like if he has this mindset, if we're seeing this version of Devin Booker, 36 points a game, like it'd be amazing if Kevin Durant's on this team and Devin Booker's like, yo, I'm just going for 30 every night. And he ends up, 35, 36, 40 bombs. That's how you properly compliment him, But instead, he's just like, oh, no, like Kevin Durant's out there. I'll let him take the majority of the shots. And that's not where you want to live, in my opinion. Kevin Durant's unbelievably efficient, and that's what makes him badass. Although, if you look on the year, field goal attempts per game, Devin Booker 18.9, Kevin Durant 18.1. Field goal makes 8.6 for Devin Booker, 9.5 for Kevin Durant. That's because his field goal percentage this year is 52.7. That's fucking disgusting, guys. Like for a guy who's not dunking it all day long to shoot over 50% from the field, like from beyond the arc, he's 43%, 83% for the free throw line. KD's just so good, and I get people get frustrated over and over again. I know that they're frustrated because, again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, they're just so in that mindset that he is what ruined Phoenix. But man, like from just a basketball sense, like did he? Like he's so fucking good. And again, you notice it time and again when he's not out there playing, time and again. I'll tell you who looked good in this game, in my opinion. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 I mean, that Ryan Dunn, he's a keeper. Only 2 of 7 from the field, only 4 points. But he had 8 rebounds. He had a steal. He had a couple assists. And he was playing Jalen Brunson tough. Like, imagine being Jalen Brunson and you've missed, 15 games? Something like that with an ankle issue. Maybe less than that. Maybe 10 games. But you get to come out and you have to play against Ryan Dunn and his suffocating defense and his length. It's one of the few positive things that we have from this season that we're going to walk away from is the fact that we have Ryan Dunn and he's going to go into his second year next year. And hopefully he gets nothing but better because defensively he has the instincts. He's had the instincts the entire season and we continue to see that. And Jalen Brunson's a good test of your instincts, in my opinion. Jalen Brunson is herky, jerky. He jumps into you. He's one of those guys who creates contact. He slows down. If he's quick, so he gets by you, then he slows down into you and creates contact. And Ryan Dunn did a good job defending him tonight. Obviously, first game back for Jalen Brunson, as I mentioned, but 34 minutes played. He only had 15 points, 3 of 9 shooting, 1 of 4 from beyond the arc. That's a guy who's dropped 50 on us like regularly. Wasn't it like 2 consecutive games when he dropped 50 on us? So I like what I see from Ryan Dunn. Hey.0. If they trade Dunn and Beal to move him, I'll be pissed at this organization. Yeah, I will be too. And that might be what has to happen, unfortunately. And then you have to ask yourself, it's like, would you rather have 2 years more of Bradley Beal and no Ryan Dunn? The fact is, we need more Ryan Dunn type players. We need 3-and-D guys. He just doesn't have the 3. But we need 3-and-D players. That's what I was thinking watching this game tonight, is how so many of our players are duplicative, right? Like Royce O'Neal is Grayson Allen, is Tyus Jones. They all do the same thing. Like average on a good day defenders, they can shoot the 3 ball. But we have like 3 of those guys. It's like we need defenders. We need length. We need athleticism. We need youth. That would be, and like Mark Brooks says, the alternative would be to keep Beal and end up 11th again. And so, like, that's what you have to weigh. And that's what we're going into this offseason. We're weighing all these different scenarios and what we prefer. And, like, that's where, for those of you who read Bright Side of the Sun, I wrote a piece yesterday that was I think it published this morning. It was the reason why you keep James Jones and make Mike Budenholzer. Now, it's not necessarily something I believe in, but it's part of the series that we're doing on Bright Side of the Sun, where we're weighing our options. We're saying, hey, here are the pros and cons of getting rid of both Budenholzer and Jones, and here is the pros and cons of keeping them. A holistic view. And I'll probably Bruce Valise from the Suns Digest, who's also on the Suns Planet podcast, he wrote the reasons why you would want to get rid of Jones and Budenholzer and just like clean house. He wrote that piece a couple days ago. So this was kind of my response to that. And it's something I'll probably do like I did a couple days ago where I did my point counterpoint. I'll probably do the same thing where I read his piece and I'll read my piece and just kind of put it all out there for you. Because I'm in the process of kind of putting together my manifesto, right? Like what I truly think the Suns should do in all these different categories. What should we do with Jones and Budenholzer? What should we do? Should we blow it up or should we not blow it up? What should we do with KD? What should we do with Grayson Allen? What should we, I'm like, we're working on all these kind of pieces, the pros and cons on Brightside. So they're really good and engaging reads. And I recommend that you read them and comment, because there's a great community on Brightside of the Sun who breaks down what they think and they respond to the articles. And there's some really good readers and really good points in there that they break. But I'm in the process of doing just that, like all you are as well, right? Like we're putting together kind of like our offseason manifesto. Like, what do we want this Suns team to do? Like, do we want to get rid of Beal? If that means getting rid of Ryan Dunn, are we okay with that? It sounds like a lot of people are like, no, but also like, fuck, we still have to keep Beal. It's such a at the end of every part of this, on how to fix the Suns, you have to ask yourself, how and why are we in this fucking situation? How and why are we in this situation? So, yeah, I mean, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. And we need to figure that out going into this upcoming offseason. Some other notes that I had on this game. Karl-Anthony Towns, such an annoying player to watch. Like, his body language is just horrible all the time. He's always moaning. He's like a kid who just doesn't get his way at all times. Stomping around on the court, rolling his eyes, doing the Tim Duncan, right? Like the eyes wide open and his hands open every time he drives the basket, screaming. He's one of those screamers who, as he's barreling towards the basket, before anyone's touching him, he's already screaming, trying to get those calls. And then when he doesn't get them, he pouts. And it'd be funny because I do see some people night after night say, well, we need a center who can shoot. Like, yeah, give us Karl-Anthony Towns. But, man, he's an annoying watch. It'd be tough to watch him night in and night out. Yeah, Keith Nettles. What a punchable face. He absolutely has a punchable face. Obviously him and Booker are buddies going back to the 2015 draft. But he would be a hard watch. And he's a great shooting center. But just a lot of that herky-jerkiness that just really, really kind of drives me crazy, at least as somebody who consumes the sport of basketball. All right, I want to talk about Subreddit real quick.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
I was in NYC. I was in the Big Apple tonight monitoring their subreddit, seeing what they had to say about the Phoenix Suns, watching this game. And here's what some of their fans had to say. Let's see. Suns out here playing like Game 7 of the finals. Haven't seen them play like this all year. And it's like, yeah, that was the beginning of the game when we were. I mean, it was a competitive game. I'll give the Suns that. They were within like 10, 12 points the whole time, but after one, it was 27-23. And then somebody responded to that, and they said, yeah, every game I've seen them, they legit just give up. Now I'm seeing these motherfuckers dive on the floor for loose balls. A lot of love for Booker. You know, normally we go into these subreddits and people are like, oh, Booker's a bitch, and Booker's a flopper, and Booker's a punchable face, and Booker looks like a Lego man. Not in NYC. Booker has been my dream pickup for years. And somebody said, Booker's good. Really good. Booker would fit seamlessly on any team in the NBA. Every single contender should be on the phone with Phoenix this summer. See? They want him in NYC. They've wanted him for a long time. The Suns are worse than their record. I know KD is out, but this roster, the past the top three is worse than year one of the Heat big three. Didn't they also trade Nurkic for like nothing? So even from afar, even over there in NYC, they know how bad we are. This Suns team is devoid of perimeter defenders. They had Tyus Jones guarding McHale and Booker guarding OG. Case in point. Beal ain't worth a quarter of that contract. Beal is living his best life with that contract and no trade clause. Barely needs to show up to work, phone it in, and collect his paycheck. Suns really thought they got an all-star when they traded for Beal. Laugh my fucking ass off. And the last one, which always hurts a little bit, Shamit, fuck you, Dagger.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
So yeah, the Knickerbockers, they definitely, their fan base is very pro Devin Booker, and they can see the Suns for who they are from afar. You know, they see that we're not a great team. Everybody sees that now. But again, it's funny, you know, like Suns Fever says, like, damn, Booker love. Yeah, it's weird to see Devin Booker love from an opposing fan base, but the Knicks want him. They buy into the Stephen A. Oh, he's the guy. Mark Brooks. Terry Rozier is apparently disgruntled. I wonder if they trade him and Scrubs for Beal. You know why Terry Rozier is disgruntled? Because he is having like the worst season of his career. Terry Rozier is shooting 30% from beyond the arc. He's a career 36% shooter. 10 points a game, 11 points a game. Yeah, he's just having a horrible year in Miami. Of course, he's disgruntled. Keith Nettles, thank you for the super chat. $20 in the super chat. He goes, top 5 reasons I watched the Suns Jam Session. Number 5, keeps me from drinking a 5th of Jägermeister. Yeah, we do what we can to avoid the alcoholism issues that all of us Suns fans have, because this team is just, it's enough to drive you to drink. I would do a Jam Star, but I think we'd all give it to Booker, but I'll play the music anyways because we like the music.
Jam Star of the Game.
Yeah, it's Devin Booker, 40 points. Like I said, one of 3 players to score in double digits for the Phoenix Suns tonight. And the next highest was Bradley Beal's 16 on 19 in shot attempts. So not what you call good. 98 points. 98 points for the Suns. Let's look at that real quick. Since Kevin Durant went out, so he went out again against Houston. They have scored not a lot of points. 103 against Boston, 123 against Milwaukee, and then obviously under today, 98 points. All right, up next for the Phoenix Suns. When they come home, they're back home on Tuesday, and they play the Golden State Warriors. So looking at the standings real quick, see where Golden State's. I know that they're one of those teams that's like fighting for those playoff spots. They're currently the 5 seed, and they're a half game behind the Nuggets. If they catch the Nuggets, they get home court advantage in the playoffs in that first round, and they're a half game ahead of Minnesota. So in short, like Golden State's competing. You know, it's funny because I had this conversation with some coworkers a couple weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago. And I said, about a month and a half ago or a month ago, I said, there's no way this team makes even the play-in. I just can't see it. Dallas is hurt and Sacramento sucks. I'm like, yeah, but like, have you watched the Suns and have you seen their schedule? I don't know if there's anything more that I need to say other than that. But that being said, a lot of people would say to me, well, teams that the Suns are going to be playing in the last 5 games, they're not going to be competing. I'm like, well, horseshit. Other than Oklahoma City, like everyone's going to be competing. Now, obviously, Sacramento is going to be competing when we play them. San Antonio is the only team that we play that's not going to be competing. But yeah, Golden State, they're right in the thick of it, man. They are like, they're a half game up on Minnesota, who has the 6th, LA Clippers, who have the 7th, and Memphis, who has the 8th. All those teams are within a half game of each other. That's 5 through 9 or 5 through 8. So yeah, there's no world in which they're not competing. One thing I do want to look at real quick. Remaining strength of schedule. Holy shit, dude. For the first time in like months, the Suns don't have the hardest remaining strength of schedule. We're now 8th. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to tweet that one out. All right. Well, quick show tonight. Not too much to talk about. We'll be talking to you on Tuesday when we play the Golden State Warriors. Any questions, any comments down there in the chat before we get out of here? Mark N says the rest of the Western Conference playoffs will still be fun to watch. Absolutely. It'll be nice to watch without the stress of being a Suns fan. 100%. Suns Fever, 83. Great show, John. That great show, Suns Fever. Thanks for always showing up, man. There's some of you guys who come in here night in, night out, like Hey.0 and Mark Brooks and Keith Nettles and all you guys are in here every night after every game. You hold a real MVPs. Thank you for supporting the show. You can read my writing at Bright Side of the Sun. You can follow me at Darth Void. You can follow Matthew at Matthew Lissy and also read his writing there as well. Again, we'll be coming to you live on Tuesday after the Suns play the Golden State Warriors. Until then, everybody, go home, love your family.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.